concept, and this is a concept. How do you look at one? Okay, the thing called centrality. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's hard for me to remember, so I created this thing on it so that I could remember. Okay, and so I came up with this concept NID. Okay, because I'm trying to study, you know, looking at a network, and so what I want to do now is create a little network over here. Okay, and I'm going to just do it like this. All right, and I'm just assuming that this is all connected by different, different links, and we're just going to do this. So this is one network, okay, and like that, and boom, boom, and they're all connected, not maybe not all to each other, but maybe just like that. So that's one little network, and then you got another network over here. All right, so that's a little smaller, but it's also connected, and these are joined by this, and so they're like that. Okay, and I'm going to make sure this one gets connected into everything goes into this one here so that it gets, somehow gets it here. So, and then you've got another smaller network over here. All right, and you put these connected also. And what you start to see is you start to connect these, that then let's just say this one is connected over here, okay? And you'll start to see what's going on here. And there's three pieces, okay? So it's the number, okay? What you want to look at is the first is the number of interactions that this person gets. Okay, so if you start to look at this, although it's probably not necessarily true, but probably, this one seems to have the most connections right here. It's a number of connections. These have a few, but not as close. So this would be right here. That's the one that's going to probably have the highest number of connections. However, if you start to look at who is, who has got the most authority, well, this guy can deal with this guy, and he goes over here and he deals over here. And so his role is probably, he's got more clout. I mean, if you want to get to the President of the United States, you want to get an influencer, somebody who can get you to whoever that is. And in this case, this person has a connection to this group, and it has a connection to this group, and it has a connection to this group. So if you're studying this, you would say, this guy right here, or this woman, it doesn't matter. If that's done, you're going to see this person right here is probably got the most influence. And that means, and when you want to get an influencer, so for instance, if I wanted to meet you and you were Catholic, I would go, and if I knew how to get to the Pope, I'd have the Pope call you and say, look, even though I'm not Catholic, if the Pope calls you and you're Catholic, you're probably going to take the call. And if you did, and you said, look, I know this guy, Marshall Thurber, and he's not Catholic, but I like him a lot. I was wondering if you'd be willing to talk to him. And so what happens, of course, is if you're Catholic and the Pope calls and asks you to call me, what do you think? You're probably going to call me. And so even though this doesn't have necessarily the number of, transactions, because this has got the most traffic, and that's the number of traffic and the number of ins and outs, okay? But the biggest influencer is this one, okay? Now, the question is now degrees of separation is how quickly can you get to all of these people? And in this case, it's called degrees of separation. So how far away is everybody from this guy or this guy? I think this is going to be the same guy or woman, and it's right here. So you've got three parts. They don't necessarily have to be the same, but if they happen to be the same, you're going to create something very different. And so you look at it from the number, the degree of influence, and the degrees of separation means that information, how fast would it take? If the information goes from this person, you start counting up all the degrees of separation, and then over here in the degrees of separation, you're probably going to be the same guy. However, it's not the guy that has the number of interactions. This person is probably much more social, much more politically, related to, but this guy's got the power. It's the gray eminence. It's the guy who really has the authority. And then also in this case, he happens to also be the one that has the greatest opportunity to bring this whole thing together. If it turns out that the number, okay, and basically if you get that and the power, or what I call the middle here, basically the influence, and the quickness to get through, then if you put that all together, then what you have basically then here is one okay, if they're all the same. In this case, they're not, but if it is, you would have a giant, one big hub. In this case, it's not. So when you study centrality, you've got to understand the number, the ones with the influence, okay, and the degrees of separation. Once you study those three, you're going to be able to study a network in a very different way and see where the power is and what you have to do. So if I want to basically get my product or service to this person, this hub, which is not quite a hub, but let's assume it is, the person that I would want to target is to get this person, because this person right here has basically what? It doesn't have the greatest number, but it has the most influence and probably has the greatest degree, the closest degree of separation. So I would be targeting that person there with whatever I want to do, because if that person likes it, he'll get it to this group, he'll get it to this group, he'll get it to this group. So you don't try to go out and get these people to buy your product. That's not it. This is too far away. You just want to get to the very vital few, and in this case, you want to get to the guy who's the hub, or as close to a hub as possible. And so you get that person, he will then transfer it to the rest of the network, and your job is much, much easier once you understand how this all works. Find out where you have to target, and don't try to get them all, because it's too slow and it's too hard and you can't go right for this person, and you're going to succeed beyond your wildest dreams if your product is really good. Now, it's really important to understand that any new product goes through this phases. So these phases we're going to talk about later, but right now, study the network as best you can. I learned from Bucky a long time ago that the bigger the picture, the more accurate your prediction. There's nothing in a caterpillar, if you just study a caterpillar, will ever tell you about scenario butterfly. So my entire life, I'm working as much as I can to be a comprehensivist. That is interested in everything, so I can make better choices, better decisions, and have a better perspective. What can I do for you?